Chapter 111, Refining the Flying Sword and Preparing for the Foreign Battleground. There were a total of 7 tokens. Wang Lin got 2 from Li Shan, 1 from the Pyro Miao sect, 1 from the He Huan sect, and 1 from the Xuan Dao sect. In total, he had 5. Ignoring the one that belonged to the corpse sect, there was still 1 more remaining. Wang Lin pondered for a while. He had already found all of the sects in the Juming Valley, but he still hadn't found the last token. Of course, that didn't rule out the fact that someone could have hidden one somewhere. He wasn't going to bother searching for it. After all, he already had 5 of the 7 tokens, which was enough to secure his spot in the foreign battleground. After he stopped wondering about the token, he started thinking about the battle in 2 months. First were his cyan grains of rice. He had already recovered the one he used earlier and now had 3 in total once again. One was a single grain, while the other 2 were supercharged grains from fusing 2 normal ones. After carefully putting away the 3 grains, Wang Lin pondered a bit and started looking through his bags. He had killed quite a few people recently, so he still had a lot of stuff to go through. After searching for a long time, Wang Lin took out a round bead. This bead was only 1/10 the size of a fist. It was very smooth, without any designs on it, and there were some cracks on the side. After picking up the bead, he couldn't help but think of the strange man named Adai. This was the first gift Adai had given him. He looked at the bead as his eyes lit up. After a long time, his mouth curved upwards as he let out a cold smile. He put the bead back into his bag of holding, took a deep breath, and spat out a green light. The green flying sword floated before him, motionless. Wang Lin felt like ever since his spiritual energy changed, there was something constantly obstructing his control of the flying sword. It was not easy as before. Although the flying sword's power had increased greatly, a flying sword he couldn't fully control was not something he would allow. Therefore, Wang Lin decided to use this time to refine the flying sword again. Both of his hands formed a seal as he sent out spiritual energy to surround the flying sword. Then, Wang Lin slapped his bag of holding and took out a gourd. The flying sword was his blood-refined weapon, so he was willing to expend a lot of resources on it. He clenched his teeth and poured out 1/3 of the liquid that was stored inside. Under Wang Lin's control, the spirit liquid filled with yin energy floated in the air and condensed to 1 droplet of water. The water droplet released waves of yin energy that covered the cave in frost. Wang Lin pointed at the water droplet, and the droplet immediately moved toward the flying sword. The droplet landed on the tip of the sword and rolled down the sword's blade, all the way down to end of the hilt. Soon, the flying sword became crystal clear. Wang Lin took a deep breath. He bit his tongue and spat out blood. As he spat out the blood, he waved his hand and the blood turned to mist, which then covered the flying sword that was covered in spirit liquid. The blood mist slowly entered the liquid. Soon, the spirit liquid that covered the flying sword was light red. Wang Lin took a few breaths. He spat out more blood as his hand created symbols. After each symbol was made, he would toss it at the flying sword. Gradually, more and more symbols appeared, and after a short while, all of the blood was used up. Wang Lin looked at the flying sword, and without a word, he hit his chest as the spiritual energy in his body surged. He pushed his chest inwards and spat out a bit of his essence blood. Wang Lin's face became pale, but he didn't hesitate as he drew a symbol with that blood. As more and more symbols appeared, along with the help of the essence blood, the spiritual liquid around the flying sword was already dark red and was even turning purple. After the last drop of blood gathered on the flying sword, Wang Lin concentrated and shouted, "Gather." With a hum, the flying sword shook violently and started to tremble faster and faster. Wang Lin didn't panic as he looked at the flying sword. His hand was constantly forming seals. Shortly after, the spiritual energy surrounding the flying sword started to boil and release white smoke as if it were being baked. As more and more white smoke appeared, the amount of liquid decreased. Eventually, all of the liquid disappeared. Looking at the flying sword, although it was still green, there were red veins on its surface, and it was only half of its original size. What surprised Wang Lin the most was that the sword's hilt was almost completely gone. Before, the sword's hilt to blade ratio was 1, 5, but now the ratio was 1:15. One could basically ignore the hilt at this point. What Wang Lin didn't know was that this flying sword that had been blood refined by him was slowly evolving. Once this evolution reaches the final phase, the flying sword will gain the Jai Realm property and will become very powerful. Wang Lin tested the flying sword and found that it moved several times faster than before. When he used his full power, it was so fast that he couldn't keep track of it with his eyes anymore. Adding on to the flying sword's teleportation ability, this flying sword was a very terrifying existence. At the very least, if a core formation cultivator without a defensive treasure active were to be hit by the sword, whether or not they'd come out alive would be uncertain. This was the power of the Jai Realm on a magic treasure. It allowed the magic treasure to break past its boundaries and reach an extreme. But when going against a nascent soul cultivator, it was still not enough. After all, Wang Lin was only at the foundation establishment stage. Even with the Jai Realm, he was simply too weak. The Jai Realm will only display its true power when Wang Lin breaks into the nascent soul stage. That is when the terror of the Jai Realm commences. The current small, green sword was even more delicate. Slivers of blue ice appeared and disappeared from the flying sword. It all looked very strange. Wang Lin swallowed the flying sword again. His eyes lit up as he calculated the time and found that he had spent 1 month refining the sword. Wang Lin decided to spend the remaining month cultivating inside the Heaven Revolting bead. He was confident that he could break through to the mid-stage of foundation establishment by the end of the month.